It was like, nah, you can lay down, baby. It's okay.
Yeah, it was pretty relaxed by like the second half.
I mean, I still thought there was a chance. Like, it could still be done.
Yeah, last year I was at the game, like I know better, but no, pretty clearly a Clemson blowout.
Say something to me about Tua being halfway Asian now, though.
He is part of the Pan-Asian diaspora.
Yeah. I noticed I had to bring it up this time, not you.
Just wasn't a good night for the diaspora.
That's what it was. You haven't started looking into Trevor Lawrence yet?
A long arc.
23 and he. You haven't gone there?
Nose gives it away. It's not happening.
Oh.
First name, Clemson. Dabo Swinney's squad blew the doors off Alabama last night, Bo. 44-16. How surprising was this game?
Oh, no, that was like, I thought that Clemson could win. I said on this television show, the bold declaration that they would cover. I did not think that they were going to win this by 4 touchdowns. The closest I have to being this surprised is maybe when Alabama beat Miami in the January 93 Sugar Bowl, where you had this team that had been an unstoppable machine for years, and then all of a sudden you saw them on their heels in a way that you could not recall having seen before. I did not think that you could dominate an Alabama team as physically gifted as the one that we saw out there like Clemson did.
No, Clemson vaporized Alabama. They vivisected Alabama. All of the multi-syllable verbs. It means to, like, tear apart a body. But the question I think we're left with today is, what really changed? What changes going forward? Because one of the weird things about what was so weird about this game is that it's because Alabama was blown out that this seemed to be something like a shift in the landscape. But to me, the fact that Alabama hadn't been blown out in this way since, I believe it was Nick Saban was coaching LSU, and Nick Saban hasn't been blown out in this way since he was a Dolphins coach, that all lends me to believe that Alabama's probably going to be fine.
Well, no, tell me this. What shifted when they blew Clemson's doors off last year? Nothing, right? Like, no, we don't have to make this into this big sea change that has occurred. This is a beating that we did not think could happen, but Clemson's got a hell of a program. Nothing changed. I think you may have just become more informed about the strength of what their program was, and a lot of that change. Trevor Lawrence is good, man.
Oh, yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is really good. Look, Dabo made what I think is a fairly bold move, even if it looks obvious now, which is take the guy that's a senior that had gotten you this far and roll the dice on your true freshman and hope that your true freshman doesn't have a true freshman game in the time where it matters. And early in this game, he did look a little bit shaky. Then he didn't look shaky no more after that 62-yard pass, and it was a wrap.
No, on third down, Clemson, led by Trevor Lawrence, who we'll get to in the next name too, they were incredible, right? 240 yards, 2 touchdowns on those third and longs. But let's talk about Alabama for a second, because let's say that something happens next year where Nick Saban isn't as great, where he maybe doesn't make the championship game, maybe doesn't make the playoff. Does he have, at the very least, diplomatic immunity at Alabama? No. Nick Saban, though? Saban doesn't get it?
Why do you think being Nick Saban matters, right? You know what? Nick Saban's currency at Alabama is his ability to win at the rate at which he has won. While we look at this as like, wow, this is amazing. No one's done anything like this before.
Yes.
Alabama looks at this as, this is the way life is supposed to be. If they were to come out here this year, in 2019, and go 10-2 after what happened in this game, or to go out there and lose to Clemson again, there's no breathing room in that job. The pressure has just been, it seems like the pressure's not there because there's been no reason for the pressure to be there.
Because he's been that good.
Yeah. But no. Ain't none of this, oh, it's Nick Saban. You only Nick Saban because you win like Nick Saban.
And you recruit like Nick Saban. Next year, by the way, it is worth noting, Alabama, the number 1 recruiting class, Clemson, number 7, and Georgia, by the way, 2nd.
Yeah.
Kind of lingering in the mix, too. But the next name, Trevor Lawrence. After last night, folks began speculating, Bo, if the true freshman was eligible for this year's NFL draft, that he would go number 1. So is he officially college football's big thing?
Of course he is. And you know why he's college football's big thing? Because we gonna act like he college football's big thing. We are going to treat him like he's college football's big thing, right? We are the big thing makers in this business. And to be fair,
darn right,
it's something that's kind of earned here. Like, it's hard to find a comparable case of a true freshman in a circumstance like this, because rarely do true freshmen get to quarterback teams that have this much talent on it. However, he looks like a guy who's going to make a lot of money in the NFL. I just need people to stop acting like next year it would be a good idea if he had the option to go to the NFL. That's stupid.
Yeah, the two things can be true. On the one hand, it is true that Trevor Lawrence should have the right to go make his money, take advantage of the capitalism that he is currently barred from participating in. But on the other hand, can we just appreciate what Trevor Lawrence's life is going to be like at Clemson? Because that quality of life, man, like you can be against amateurism in terms of the finances, but pro-amateurism in terms of, I want to be this young man.
I bet it was pretty damn good the second that he showed up, let alone before we had some skins on the wall. Like,
Absolutely.
Right? Oh, yeah, no. He's going to have a ball.
Hair
here.
flipping and people are swooning.
No, but I've been listening to people make this argument that if he was in the draft, that he would be the number one overall pick. And maybe that's the case, but that would be the reason why they have the rules in place stopping these guys from coming into the draft. Not because of their safety or anything else, but to protect general managers from bad ideas. You're asking for a lot for a 19-year-old dude to go out there and not just take the hits that come in the NFL, but to ask him to process information at the speed at which you have to do so to stop from taking those hits. This dude has seen like 11 starts worth of coverages. Give him some time to learn what he's doing before you think that spindly dude can go out there and handle what the NFL is.
Yeah, he's 6'6", 215, could use a little bit more weight to go against NFL defenses. But the other thing, like, if you are taking him as what he would be a sophomore, if you're taking him as a de facto sophomore, you've got to start him because the entire point of taking these young quarterbacks in the NFL today, the season has reminded us, it's to get the value while they're on the field because they're cost controlled per the salary cap. And that's, again, a big ask, even if his hair is that magnificent.
You know, the players that I have seen at this point in their career where you're like, oh, that guy could play in the league right now. It's more like these superhuman running back types, Bo Jackson, Adrian Peterson, Herschel Walker. Like those are the dudes that we're talking about because they can physically withstand the pounding. That's the argument. That's not what it looks like we have here. There's no need to go get ahead of yourself. So yes, he should have the right to make whatever bad decision it is that he wants. But if he were to try to go to the NFL right now, that would be a bad decision.
Absolutely.
If it were an option.
Just enjoy college. We can entertain that.
And please don't get hurt playing for free. That's why it's a dilemma.
Also,
next name's Matt LaFleur. Last night, the Packers revealed the 39-year-old Titans offensive coordinator will be their new head coach. Pablo, you have confidence that he is the answer in Green Bay?
I don't have confidence because I have confidence in the man that he is supposed to be imitating, which is Sean McVay. All of these teams are looking for Sean McVay's buddies, disciples, branches on a sapling of a coaching tree because we all believe that Sean McVay is a unique genius brain. But Bo, one of the things about being a unique genius brain is that there is one of you. Those skills are not always transferable. Look at Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick, genius. Bill Belichick's coaching tree, not as good as Bill Belichick.
Well, I understand the argument about getting the guy to run your offense and work with your quarterback if your quarterback isn't necessarily that good or your quarterback is an unknown, right? So with McVay is there in Los Angeles with a quarterback who looked awful before he got there, and he has created an offense that makes that quarterback look, honestly, a lot better than he is. I don't feel like you need to do that with Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, I don't think you need to go get a guru to get the Aaron Rodgers thing working. What did the Colts do with Peyton Manning? They got a defensive guy and said, hey, Peyton, the offense is yours. I don't really understand, maybe it's an ego sort of thing, why you don't do something more in those lines with Aaron Rodgers. Like, yes, you want somebody who makes Aaron Rodgers better. That didn't have to be some dude who knows Sean McVay. You don't need all the Sean McVay magic if Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback.
No, that's right. But what you could use, and this I think is the case for Matt LaFleur in a statistic. The case is expected completion percentage. The Titans offense last year, number 1. The Packers, 27. Yeah. So in terms of adding value, scheming guys open, what McCarthy didn't do.
That's a great case for an offensive coordinator. Why do people act like that job? They don't know what they're doing. They're trying to come up with anything that seems to hold up to say this is what's going to indicate that this guy is a good head coach. And the new thing is, I used to hang out with Sean McVay back in the day. Like, that's the thing that you need to do to figure this out. Now, the Packers offense was 7th according to DVOA at Football Outsiders. Their defense was, 29th?
Yes.
Right? Nobody's talking about bringing somebody in to fix this defense. No, because you need somebody to get your quarterback there. Your quarterback is there. Like, he may not be as good as he was, and there are questions about how he performed last season, but you don't need somebody to magically turn your quarterback into something new. You need somebody to turn your team into something new. And if this guy can do that, that's fantastic. But if the thing is, he knows how to whisper to quarterbacks, you don't need a quarterback whisperer.
The whispering is overrated. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need whispering. He just needs the steering wheel, I guess you would say.
Just they don't know what they're doing. Coming up next, should the Giants draft Dwayne Haskins? He thinks so.
Alert! High Noon is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Pepperoni and Riverdeck at Pier 17.
Like a month ago, we was giving Tua the Heisman Trophy, man. He had afterthought after this national championship game.
Yeah, I'm going to argue, like, he didn't look right. There's something physical, right? There had to be something
didn't look
off
right.
with him.
Clemson was rocking him. That's what didn't look right. There we go. Dude, he's not even actually Asian.
Polynesia is a part of the Asian diaspora.
You're pretending.
First quote.
Well, it would be pretty nice. I've been a Giants fan for a long time. Said Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins about the prospect of being drafted by the Giants in April. Giants had the 6th pick. Does this feel like a good fit?
It feels like the best fit, and a good versus best distinction is premised on what are the alternatives here, Bo? Because the Giants need a quarterback, and this is the guy after Justin Herbert dropped out. This is the guy who is clearly the top consensus quarterback available. If you're going to play it cute and try to wait another year for someone roughly as good as him, hopefully, you're rolling dice that I don't think the Giants can afford to roll.
Yeah, I mean, look, last year was the year to go in if you wanted to take options at quarterback. If you wanted to select from a menu of quarterbacks, you could have done that last year with the number 2 pick. But you didn't do that, and you convinced yourself that Eli got more in the tank than he does. Now, the Giants do seem to think, at least from everything that they're indicating, that they can go into next season with Eli Manning and not have a problem with it. Then you need to take the quarterback right now, and this is the guy that is there for you to take. Maybe you do him like you did with Eli and Kurt Warner, where Kurt Warner starts the first part of the year, and then you make the transition. But this is the guy that this draft has provided for you. Also, small problem though. You ain't getting him at 6.
Well, so this is where I would like this guy, Dwayne Haskins, to do the Giants like Eli did the Giants. If you like the Giants so much, how about you insist on going there? How about you declare, I would never play The problem, Bo, is that the Jaguars are picking right behind the Giants.
Yeah.
There are all of these other teams.
Yeah.
If you love them so much.
No matter what, whoever wants a quarterback is going to have to go up to get him. We watched this draft board game many times, right?
That's how it goes.
Quarterbacks are scarce. If you want a quarterback, somebody traded up to take Trubisky, right? From 3 to 2.
Yes, they did.
Getting a quarterback was that important. However, that dude comes out and says, I'm naming my location. He's not Eli Manning. His daddy didn't play in the league, and Eli could barely get away with it.
Next quote. The feeling league-wide over the weekend was Kingsbury had the Arizona job. We'll see what happens today. Tweeted Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, and Peter Schrager reports that Kingsbury met with Jets ownership last night, meeting with Arizona today. So are you surprised that he is this in demand?
They don't know what they're doing. If it is time to pick a head coach, they just hear what's going on in these streets and see what worked the last time and try to get closer to it. Is this dude supposed to be Sean McVay too?
I think so, yes.
Is Kingsbury supposed to be Sean McVay? Keeping in mind, when he got that Texas Tech job, I don't think he would have gotten a head coaching job at that point anywhere other than his alma mater in a time of somewhat of an emergency after Tuberville had jetted out of there. He was the least successful coach that Texas Tech has had in 30 years. He just got fired. Now y'all want to give him an NFL job. I know I have said this repeatedly, but no, I cannot believe that they're falling for this.
No, they want him to also be Sean McVay, even though he is, I believe, 7 or 8 years older than Sean McVay, has never worked in the NFL on a coaching staff while Sean McVay has. But this all feels like a bunch of teams are trying to be modern and advanced in their offensive scheming, but they are employing the scouting techniques of like the old caricatures of scouts. Look at him. He has a feel. He looks like he should play the part. This all sounds very copycat league in a pejorative sense.
Yeah, but this dude don't even really look the part per se. Like, what about the part of being a football coach? Did Vince Lombardi look like Ryan Gosling? I don't recall that being what this is. No, I mean, it's just...
That's the weird part. The new paradigm has changed.
But I don't even know if... they're just like, hey, this guy coached good quarterbacks, right? Well, think about this. Right or wrong, right? And I think these decisions, some of them are defensible. He's the guy who benched Baker Mayfield for Davis Webb after an injury.
And Baker transferred.
He worked with Patrick Mahomes, but the thing about Mahomes coming out was how raw he was, how much work he ultimately needed. I don't see what the basis for this is other than he runs the air raid. All kinds of people do that.
Yeah, those are skills you just mentioned that seem to lend themselves to evaluating as opposed to necessarily running a whole
offensive
team.
coordinator. Where a college,
that.
USC didn't want him to be the head coach. Think about that. Quote, Tibbs is just a coach that believed in me. He jump-started my career again. For that, I'll always be thankful. But for everybody that think that it's going to stop, kill yourself. Said Derrick Rose when asked by reporters if he thinks he'll be able to continue his high level of play after the firing of his guy, Tom Thibodeau. Let's listen.
I have a lot of confidence in myself. Tibbs was just a coach that believed in me. I mean, he jump-started my career again, and for that, I'll always be thankful. But for everybody that thinks that it's going to stop, kill yourself. It's not. He believed in me. I believe in myself. My family believed in me.
Yes, the eyes.
And my little guy Art believed in me.
Like his eyes already stuck there in that position. You see what I mean?
Like I said, for everybody that think that I'm not going to play the same way, kill yourself, because I believe in myself.
Oh, okay. Pablo rose has since apologized, but what's your reaction?
This is the poor use of a poor idiom. Like, what he meant was functionally the same as get a life. It's just that this one in impact triggers a bunch of other terrible implications about suicide and mental health. That's what it seems to come down to. The intent seemed pure.
We're here because it's Derrick Rose, right? And it is a poor choice of idiom, and it's certainly a harsh idiom, and one that I prefer that people would not use, right? However, I find it funny that a lot of our NBA Twitter hipster buddies who know all the cool stuff and love to tell you their knowledge of the trap music all of a sudden turn into literalists when they hear this and they know exactly what it is that he was trying to convey.
That's the thing. You know that he wasn't telling people to go commit suicide.
But he's saying the wrong thing. Coming up next, Clemson think they should Knight.
Listen to this show through Apple Podcasts. Bomani's too. I've got a podcast. Where's yours, Pablo?
It's gone.
So after the game, you think Tua was excited about seeing his dad?
No, he wasn't. No, he was not.
I don't feel like there's a lot of positive reinforcement after that.
He had like hundreds of family members there, and that was not a party I wanted to attend.
No, not at all. Today's number is 2016. That was the year former NBA player Hideo Turkoglu became a chief advisor to Turkey's President Erdogan. The Knicks' Enes Kanter, who has been outspoken against Erdogan, said he won't travel to London to play the Wizards on January 17th because he's afraid the Turkish government may try to kill him. Turkoglu says Kanter is delusional. What do you make of all of this?
This is not NBA beef. This is not NBA soap opera. This is something real. And on Twitter, I saw a couple of accounts talking about, are you team Turkoglu or team Kanter? And that's not how we want to talk about this story, because this is the story of an autocratic regime in Turkey and all of the dominoes that tip over when that exists. Enes Kanter, Bo, is one of the most outspoken players we've ever seen because of these stakes. But the stakes, to be clear, are very real.
Yeah, like we don't think of him in the context of like a Tommy Smith, John Carlos type thing, because what he's dealing with does not happen in this country, right? But this dude legitimately fears for his life based on the statements that he's made about the Turkish government. His relationship with his parents has been disrupted because of this, with questions as to whether or not his parents have disowned him because the government wants them to. And then you wind up in this situation, and Kanter's like, look, Turkoglu released his statement in 3 languages. One of them is German. He doesn't even speak German. Like, this is where it is. I just want people to think about something, though. As we talk about this and you hear about somebody who feels like he can't go to London or he can't go home because he feels his government is going to kill him. That is one of those things that makes us as Americans very often pop up and say, thank goodness that I don't live in a place like that, right? That is one of the bases of this American exceptionalism that we operate with is we can say what we want, First Amendment. You ain't got to worry about the government doing stuff like that to you. But in this country, when somebody wants to make similar types of statements, we don't need the government to shut you down. We ask your boss to shut you down.
That's right.
We try to shut you down on the internet or whatever it is. Like this level of courage, we can all see it when the courage is being demonstrated by somebody outside of this. Inside of it, we talk about some stick to sports.
That's right. And the NBA is a cosmopolitan league. I hope that they have a handle on all of these nuances.
Yeah, they got to handle the nuances. I don't know what they can do for them, though. In closing, shout out to Christian Wilkins and Cleveland Farrell. Somebody taught those young boys about one of the most important moments in the history of history.
Outstanding performance tonight.
Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Hey, we got something to say.
Cleveland's got something.
We on the
You
West
get
Coast.
the mic.
We on the West Coast.
We on the West Coast. We on the West Coast. This is Cleveland Farrell.
Hey, a lot of y'all might understand this, but if you want to cut, for any of them recruits out there, if you want to come to a program where you got to worry about your coach, all up in the locker room, dancing. Come to Death Valley.
Because Dabo, he be in the locker room. Nick Saban will dance with you in the living room.
Yeah,
with
Cupid
your mama.
shuffle a little bit.
Yeah, whatever dance is necessary. But for those of you who did not remember this or never saw it live, this is one of the greatest moments of my life watching
It
this
really
live.
is.
And one other thing I'd
95
like to
Source
say,
Awards.
any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, Don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record, dancing. Coming Jeff Rowe.
The disdain in his voice in New York dancing.
Yes.
Imagine being Diddy at that moment and be like, I do be dancing.
But this was tremendous recruiting because this is, in so many words, the difference between Alabama and Clemson, a player's program versus a coach's program.
So it's kind of, sort of. Be sure to bring your Bible, by the way.
Oh, yeah. In closing, I would like to say au revoir to Au Naturel, a restaurant in Paris which closed after 15 months after failing to attract enough customers. Let's see if you can figure out why.
What?
This is France's first nudist restaurant, Bomani Jones. You checked your clothes and your phone at the door, and you get to have a meal with your naked
Oh, did they come
compatriots.
together or just wind up at the same table?
I feel like that barbed wire
Did they
tattoo
come
raises
together and
many
just wind up
questions.
at the same table?
All of these are many questions that are worth investigating, but the main takeaway, Bo, is that when you're doing nudist stuff, the other nudists are never really who you want to be nudists.
Well, yeah, that's what people. Here's my thing about it. I don't have that much confidence in my precision to be eating hot food with no clothes on like that. Like, that seems burn potential. Highly questionable. Coming up next.